Romain Grosjean, a bit of a Formula One enigma in a way. He has amazing flashes of speed paralleled with accidents, issues and just general lack of pace. What happened with Romain Grosjean? What is going through his mind as we look at him right now? Because he hadn't had a particularly good 2018 season. He turned it around in the second half. He was given this second chance by HAAS, and well, the 2019 season hasn't exactly gone to plan for the French driver. So in this video I'm going to be speaking about this issue and also thinking about what's going to be happening within the HAAS team. Because over the last couple of days they've come out with a couple of interesting things and I don't know what the future is for them. So this video is going to be mainly looking at the HAAS situation, all of what's going down in their team over the last couple of months, and trying to get to the bottom of it and who their drivers could be for the remainder of this season. Because a big piece of news that was leaked to the press over the last couple of days is there are rumours that Esteban Ocon could be going to HAAS as early as the next Grand Prix. Personally, I think that's a little bit too early, but we'll discuss in this video. So Romain Grosjean has been a bit of a Formula One mainstay over the last 6 or 7 years. There have been moments where we definitely thought he was out of the sport. I can think of 4 or 5 just off the top of my head. But he's always surprised us, he's always come back and he has got the results. But there's something different about this 2018 situation. Nothing seems to be going right for him. Even when he has fantastic qualifying results, like in the most recent race at Silverstone, he did a good result into the top 10. It just didn't work out in the race. Lap 1 accident caused him to retire from the race early on. We look back from his career already, and there are many moments where his career in Formula 1 could have finished at that point. 2009 with Renault, his first debut season in the sport. He didn't exactly have a great half season with them, and you definitely thought that could be it. That was his chance at Formula 1 stardom. But no, he came back in 2012 with the Lotus team, and he surprised us from time to time. There was flashes of speeds there were chances of good points, and there were podiums in there as well. But these were completely obliterated by the crashes, the accidents and the drama. Many of us thought 2012 was it. He had his second chance, he's gone from Formula 1. But no, he's back in 2013 and the results are there. He's consistently quick and the accidents and all those issues are gone. We thought Grosjean had rebuilt himself. But then there was trouble to come within that same team at the end of 2015 when they pulled out of the sport. Lotus, now Renault, pulled out of the sport and decided to go elsewhere with that money. That left Grosjean in a bit of a situation, but luckily he decided to pick up the HAAS deal. The team had recently came into Formula 1 and he wanted to make sure he was their number 1 driver. After a good start to that partnership with HAAS, there was trouble coming, especially at the start of the 2018 season. A bit like this 2019 season, everything was going wrong for Romain Grosjean. And it's very sad to see because he's a really likeable guy and he's got many fans around the world, including myself. So it was a big shame to see him go through all of these heartaches in the start of the 2018 season, but he pulled it around and he had this second chance. But 2019, as I've said already, feels a bit different. You feel there's somewhat of a lack of trust now between HAAS and Grosjean. Who knows what's happening in that team because the results aren't coming. He's being outshone by his much younger teammate Kevin Magnussen, and you feel maybe this is it for Grosjean, especially at HAAS. So my thoughts on this are that HAAS don't particularly need a pay driver. Well, we don't think they do. It depends how the energy drink deal turns out, whatever they're called now going forward. We don't know what's going on with them, whether they'll continue to sponsor the HAAS team. But nonetheless, I feel HAAS as a team don't go for the money. They kind of did with Esteban Gutierrez in their first year, but at the same time he had the Ferrari links, and of course Ferrari are helping the HAAS team in quite a lot of ways. So I feel like HAAS don't particularly need a pay driver, and it makes me question whether they'll continue with Romain Grosjean. I don't think they'll make the switch as early as the next Grand Prix, but a recent article has came out, shared throughout the motorsport industry, saying that HAAS is seeking a solution to its clashing drivers. Could this solution be getting rid of one of their drivers? And you feel if it's going to be either of them, it's probably going to be Grosjean, looking at his results in 2018 and 2019. It's very hard to watch this season, especially because I think a lot of us who know Formula 1 realise that Grosjean is a really nice guy, and it's very sad to see him go through these heartaches where it looks like it's going to go perfectly. We look at Silverstone, a good result in qualifying, looks to be a bit of a redemption period where he's starting to get the form back, and it just goes wrong yet again. You can't help but feel sorry for him, but Formula 1 is a very tough world, and he's already had a load of second chances, if you will. So what is happening here? Is it mental, or is just Grosjean past his peak in Formula 1? I look back at his time earlier on in his career, to be fair. 2013, up against Kimi Raikkonen, towards the end of that season, getting close to matching him. 2014 was a bit of a naff Lotus car, but 2015, he somehow managed to pull out a podium in a Mercedes-powered car in that Lotus, which is still, nonetheless, quite a feat considering the teams in front of him. You had Mercedes at the top, Ferrari and Red Bull there as well, and then you even had teams like McLaren who were doing quite well in that 2015 season, if I recall correctly. So to get a podium in that car was quite a feat, and it certainly shows when the day is right, Grosjean can be quick. So what is happening right now? And if you look at Kevin Magnussen in the other side of the HAAS garage, yes, he's having some issues this season. It's pretty clear the whole HAAS team is struggling with their 2019 car. It's obviously not built quite the way they all want it, but nonetheless, Kevin Magnussen has got the majority share of the points within that team, and if they're going to keep anyone, they're going to keep Magnussen. He's been much more reliable over the last 18 months, and you feel a team like HAAS need to be getting consistent points. They need to be well in that midfield battle and dragging something out of that car, even if it can't naturally do it. And let's be fair, Magnussen has done that on multiple occasions this season. Maybe that's just him being fantastic, or maybe that's just Grosjean lacking a bit behind. So what are the other options? Well, I've noted down 3. I think 2 of which you're probably seeing as very likely. One other one is a bit of an outside bet, but nonetheless, I'm going to put it in here because it's quite exciting. Now, a lot of you may have watched my recent video on this channel speaking about 2020 driver predictions. Just like to say a massive thank you to everyone who viewed that. Lots of fantastic comments on there. I'm not going to be able to respond to every single one of them because there are literally hundreds, but I just want to say thank you to all of those comments, and I do read them all. Just very appreciated. But nonetheless, let's speak about this because I put Nick de Vries to come to HAAS. But when I think about this further, there are a couple of other options which I didn't mention in this video, and I also could put forward to possibly replacing Grosjean at the summer break. Esteban Ocon, well, that wouldn't have been my first choice, let's be fair, because I didn't think there was really much link between him and HAAS, but if there's a seat going, I think Mercedes are going to try and get him into Formula 1 again somehow. I really think Mercedes rate Ocon. I just don't know whether they trust him in a Mercedes seat with only 2 or 3 years of experience within the sport. They want to see him in the midfield battling for a couple more seasons before they trust him in the championship winning car. And Bottas maybe doesn't have quite the raw speed of Ocon on his day, but he's definitely consistent, and that's something that Ocon needs to prove to Mercedes with a few more seasons in the mid-pack. So, who do they go with? Do they go with Ocon, or do they go with their test reserve driver, Fittipaldi, who's not exactly, to be fair to him, had the greatest season in DTM, being outshone by someone who driven in Formula 3 last year, finished 15th or so in the standings. Maybe Fittipaldi needs some more time in DTM and more time in the HAAS car, but I certainly don't think Fittipaldi is quite ready for Formula 1. Maybe in a few years, but I think there are better options out there, and that's no disrespect, I just want to be honest in that regard. But the last option on this list, which I think not many people are speaking about, Pascal Wehrlein. Okay, he's been a Mercedes driver in the past, but where is he now? Yes, Formula E. But on the other side, he's a reserve test driver for none other than Ferrari. Like we spoke about earlier with the old Esteban Gutierrez situation, there are heavy links between HAAS and Ferrari. And maybe, just maybe, they might put him in the car. I mean, how fantastic would that be? So many of us rate Pascal Wehrlein, and to see him back in the sport would be absolutely fantastic. It's obviously not the most likely one. I think Fittipaldi is an option, Ocon another option, but I think Pascal Wehrlein another very good driver that HAAS should seriously consider. But nonetheless, I think there are big decisions to be made at HAAS over the next month or so, and if we come back from the summer break, I wouldn't be fully surprised if we see Romain Grosjean out of his seat in the HAAS team. Whilst that would be a massive shame, you could understand it looking at his results so far this season. So to finish off this video, I want to quickly gloss over a couple of small topics or other topics I want to mention in this video. Obviously the whole Rich Energy saga, we briefly touched on it earlier. I think they've now been renamed to Lightning Bolt or something like that. I'm pretty sure there's a Tesco energy drink called like exactly the same, so who knows what legal drama's coming next with that, but hopefully not much. We just want to clear up with this and hopefully HAAS have a decent sponsor underneath them. So yeah, the whole Rich Energy saga, definitely not over. Definitely keep an eye out. It news is definitely going to keep coming with that, so that's going to be interesting. A lot of people now saying that Red Bull is the second fastest car on the grid. Very interesting to think that. I think there's a decent possibility that it's the case now. Ferrari, well, they've had a bit of a trial and tribulation over the last couple of races, nearly winning in Austria, and the massive Leclerc Verstappen battle in Silverstone was fantastic to watch, to be fair, but I think you've got to say the Red Bull car is probably on par, if not a little bit better than the Ferrari right now, especially as those last two tracks you could see as Ferrari circuits. So if we go into the next couple of races, maybe looking at Hungary in particular, Red Bull could honestly be quite close to Mercedes. In race pace especially, that would be very exciting to see. Also news, Melbourne extends its deal. I think it's till 2025. They're confirmed on the Formula 1 grid. Many don't see it as one of the best tracks on the calendar, but it is a challenging street circuit. And whilst I've got to say myself, not my favourite circuit, it is something different, and I'm happy to see it on the calendar. Even though I do kind of wish it wasn't the first race of the season. I think we should start with a race that generally provides a little bit more drama. Last but not least, Fernando Alonso has said that he has no intentions of returning to Formula 1 in 2020, which probably means he has full intentions of getting a seat somewhere on the grid. Because Fernando Alonso normally says something to the press and means the exact opposite to just try and create a bit of attention. He's the master of it, and that's why many people love him. Thanks for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything spoken about in this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please remember to drop a like on this video, subscribe if you're new, and leave me a fantastic comment down there as you've been doing over the last couple of videos. Have a fantastic day. It's been Alex, and I'm out of here. Goodbye.